Hey everyone, it's Dr. Jodi here. I haven't been on in a long time because I've been away, so I'm so happy to be back with you again on these lives on Monday morning around 11 a.m. Eastern. So the holidays are coming up. If you're in the U.S., we have our U.S. Thanksgiving on Thursday, and of course, there's so many holidays this time of year for so many different cultures. So that means being with people, and sometimes that is wonderful, and we have the privilege of having wonderful family members, and that's so exciting. And sometimes it is difficult. So for a lot of us, it's difficult. I'm not speaking from experience. I have to say that because my family watches this. This is from coaching people through relationships for 25 years. How I understand how to approach difficult relationships, because a lot of times people are really afraid to be around family members because they feel like they're very vulnerable. Every time they're around these family members, they feel bad about themselves. So there's a lot of anxiety that comes up. Maybe it's PTSD because there's been a lot of trauma with these people that you felt bad about yourself when you're around them so much. And so if you feel like this, heading into this holiday season, I have some tips for you. And I think I have some broccoli in my tooth. I'm so sorry. Hello, be real. I had broccoli for lunch. So if you are heading into the holiday season and you have relatives or you have feelings like this is what I want you to do. Think about the metaphor of customer, and you are maybe customer service. So this could be like a nurse and a patient, a teacher and a student, a therapist and a client, any kind of relationship where you are providing a service and you have clients or you have customers, a coach and a customer. Think about that. Think about your family members from that perspective, because this allows you to change the power relationships. Right now, if you're feeling really nervous about going, you are probably feeling like they have some power to hurt you, right? So that's the relationship dynamics, is they have power from how they say or how they act or how they look at you that might hurt you. And so you're experiencing that you're going into this situation without power, with feeling powerless. And that's why the anxiety comes up. But if you change the metaphor and think about your relatives or these difficult family members as your customers, that changes the power relationship. That doesn't mean we have power over them. It means that they really don't have any power over you. So you approach it thinking, I have to care for my customer, or I have to care for my client, or I have to care for my patient. You're thinking about that, and you are not as vulnerable. It doesn't mean in these kind of situations, if you're a nurse and your patient is really, really mean to you, of course it's going to hurt. But it hurts less than someone who is in a position of power over you. Because you know it's about them, you know it's about their pain, you think about it as they're the fragile person. And that protects you so much. Changing that power dynamic protects you so much. And that doesn't mean you're going to take advantage of that and be a jerk to them and get power over them and threaten them. No, actually it opens you up to be more compassionate and loving. Maybe that person doesn't deserve it, but having that relationship, and I maybe would argue with that. Yes, some people don't deserve it. They've been just terrible and they continue to be terrible. But sometimes people are mean because they're really hurting, right? That's testimony to their own misery. So if you could find compassion, and if you give loving compassion, that doesn't mean make yourself vulnerable and try to put yourself out there and try to overdo. No, it's just it's a position that you're in. You might not even talk to that person at the family event or those people that you don't want to talk to. This doesn't mean you have to. But if you have a position of compassion, that might melt some of their fear and some of their anger or bitterness. It might melt some of that, and actually it might tame them a little bit. You may still not interact. You might not even know that's what's happening. But if you come with that position of compassion, first of all, you are totally protected. And also, they may tame them a little bit, and they may act differently, especially if they see that they're not getting a reaction out of you. You might come out of that. So you have a social mission. Your social mission is, who can I connect to that I like to connect to? Who can I compliment or make feel good that barely gets to feel good in this context? So if you have toxic family members, I don't want to put that label, family members who are difficult, let's say, then there's also other family members who might be really vulnerable in those kind of situations. And you might have a social mission to be like, I'm going to compliment this person so they feel appreciated today. And when you go into these situations with a social mission instead of social anxiety, it changes the game and how you feel. So I don't see that I have any questions right now. I wanted to mention, this is not about people pleasing, right? People pleasing is a subjugated power position. You're trying to please someone so that they could, you're giving them the power to tell you you're worthy. So people pleasing is a totally different scenario than I'm talking about. Because if you do this metaphor where this is your customer and you could be solid in your own self and solid in your own power and have compassion for the people around you. First of all, you're not vulnerable. Your anxiety is way down. And also that compassion thank you for balloons. Who's sending balloons? That's awesome. That could decrease their fear and they could actually be nicer to you. But you still have to be vulnerable, right? You don't have to be available for them. You don't have to be vulnerable. You don't have to change them. But you're just having compassion like, wow, they're fragile, they're miserable. This is kind of a sad life that they have. You can have that compassion without doing any actions, but that's going to make a difference in how you feel. And that's all that I'm worried about right now. So we're not talking about people pleasing. People please, don't have very good boundaries. They approach the world from that subjugated power position, which leaves them feeling very vulnerable, very anxious, and then they're really giving the ruby slippers away for everybody else to tell them that they're worthy because they don't think it themselves. So that's not what I'm talking about. This is completely different. You are solid in yourself. You know your worth. You know that you're amazing and you don't deserve to be treated like that or brought down by people. So you're going to be in the position of loving people up to you instead of having them tell you who you are, because you know who you are. So have happy holidays, everybody, and I'll see you next Monday.